I thought I would do a video that's just a little more looser and less scripted, which is also a good exercise for me anyway, just because I tend to be such a planner. I like having all the details figured out ahead of time. And so this is just as much a good exercise for me as much as a valuable video for those of you out there who maybe are on your own entrepreneurial journey. So in this video, I thought I would talk about things that I've learned so far while launching my first ever business. And I do have to provide a little bit of context, I feel like, before getting right into it, because if you watch my videos, which there's a few, you'll see that this is not the kind of stuff that I really talk about. It's very like book heavy, business of books, marketing, publishers, what to know, how to's, stuff like that. So this might seem a little bit off the cuff for the stuff that I typically include on my channel. So I thought I would just kind of bring some new content to the page a little bit, just because I feel like this is valuable information that could benefit other people besides myself. So let's just get right into it. So I very recently started a business as a publishing consultant. And basically, I try to separate myself from others who are in a similar line of work by not only guiding people strategically through their next steps, what they need to know about their publishing options, the processes, etc. for each, but also taking it a step further by educating people on their specific circumstances and what they need to be thinking about for their book. So I not only try to provide that kind of guidance, but also that educational element so that you can take what information we have together and maybe apply what you learn with me to different areas, different projects of your life. That way it's worth your while. It's an investment in yourself. Basically, in a nutshell, that's what my business is about. It's brand spanking new. Like, I literally just launched my website like a couple weeks ago, no more than maybe 3 weeks ago. So it's brand new, dudes. When I'm telling you it's new, it's new. And this is not really what I was planning on doing. Like earlier this year, if you told me, Lauren, you're gonna be an entrepreneur, I would just sigh with exhaustion. I'd be like, no. Because what happened was at the beginning of this year, I had a job. And I decided to kind of break away from that job, try something new. So I was actually looking around. I spent like a good few months looking for jobs in publishing. But as you know, if you've done a little bit of research on your own, you'll find that it's an extremely niche and therefore competitive space to get into. It's because it's so niche, that means it's also very communal. Like everyone kind of knows one another. It's like trying to be a part of a small town, right? If a new person moves into a small town, it's like everyone's going to be like, oh, who is that? Do you know who that is? I've never seen her before. And it's going to be like Stephen King, small town gossipy kind of thing, you know? That's kind of what it was. I didn't really have much luck with that. And simultaneously, I just didn't see the kind of stuff that I really wanted to do out there just because I'm not sure that it's a common thing educating people on the publishing space. Hence why I do what I do here on YouTube. So it was sort of like a gradual thing. And I ended up finding myself launching this business as a publishing consultant just because I saw that there was such a need for it. And for me, this isn't entirely out of the blue just because I've been around so many other entrepreneurial people. My partner, Nick, is very entrepreneurial. My mom started a private practice in the mental health space when I was 14. I've worked for startups. I've been a part of communities where there are these entrepreneurial and, visionaries and stuff. So like I've been around a lot of entrepreneurial people, but I didn't really want that for myself. I wanted the stability. I wanted the steady paychecks. I wanted the benefits. That's what I wanted in my life. Being a millennial with all of the things happening in the world and all of the previous world events that I've grown up with, inflation, that's like all I wanted was just stability, but I didn't get that. So I'm creating it now for myself. And as such, I've been documenting learning moments and findings along the way. And this is the part where I tell you what those are. This is my notes. This is my scratch pad of paper. Like when I say that this is just this morning, I had this idea and was like, boom, I need to record this. This is what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm going to be reading off of. These are in no particular order too, by the way, just before I forget. I think the biggest thing that I learned that also doubles as a life lesson is that with anything you decide, it's always just a matter of time until X, whatever you want to have happen, until an opportunity comes around, until something takes off, until a eureka moment comes through, when you get your first paycheck, like whatever it is that you decide, it's always just going to be a matter of time, assuming that you're putting in the work and the diligence and the dedication and the consistency to achieve whatever goal that is. If you're putting in the work and the intention is out there, it's almost always just a matter of time until that comes into your world. It might be a short amount of time, might be years from now, decades from now. I think it depends on the kind of wish or intention that you have for yourself. And the bigger the intention, the longer time investment it's going to take to basically attract that in. So that doubles as a life lesson too, but that's probably one of the bigger things that I've learned. So that's number one. Number two, and maybe this is just like a Western culture type of thing, but it is so hard to not make work your personality. You know how there's like people that make dogs, like their dog, their personality, you know what I'm talking about. And it's really hard to just not always talk about work. But because this thing is such a little baby entity, like a little baby business, it's also kind of fun though to think long term about, wow, what could this thing really turn into? Oh my gosh, I have all of these great ideas. Oh, you know what? We might want to think about changing this up a little bit. Or, what about this offer? There's probably things that I could do differently. Like there's always something to think about. And I found that this is something that I really enjoy. I'm good at it. I like talking about it. I feel fairly confident in myself with my abilities. The only thing I really struggle with is imposter syndrome. It's never like, can I do it? Should I do it? It's always like, if I do it, what will be so great about me doing it? But I would say that it's hard to just not let that consume you. So I do puzzles now. I've recently gotten into audiobooks. I run in my spare time. And speaking of running, the third thing that I'm kind of learning is that this whole thing is a marathon. Like, it's certainly not a sprint. I'm not sure I would really trust it if it was a sprint. I think these kinds of processes are meant to be a challenge for your endurance and for your patience and for your consistency. And luckily, in my case, I'm an exceedingly patient person. I've spent a large portion of my life watching and observing and learning from other people and their actions and the results, the effects, the consequences of their actions. So I feel like I've kind of done a lot of homework throughout, the first 20 some odd years of my life. I'm in my late 20s now, and I'm kind of at the point where I'm starting to be like, I think it's time that I practice and put into motion and action everything that I've seen and observed from other people. And I would also add too that a lot of what I'm learning and putting into motion are also the opposite of things that I've learned, which sounds clunky, but hang with me for a second. A large part of my observations have been examples of what not to do. And at first, in my early adulthood, late teens, that was like really frustrating to always be in the middle of something that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, whether it be projects, aspirations, friendships, relationships, whatever. But I also think that, because I'm an optimist, that's basically like a process of elimination thing. And when you learn all of these ways to not do something, the only thing that's left is how to do something. It's going to be a marathon. It's going to be a matter of time until something like that kicks in and other people, including myself, feel the benefits of the things that I think and hope that I'm doing right. The other thing that's kind of nice to think about too, and this is point number 4, is that I am needed. And I feel like that phrase might be unfamiliar to a lot of people because it's always like, who am I to do something like this? There's 10,000 other people in the world that do the same thing that I'm wanting to do. And that's the case especially with writing books. It's the case with starting businesses. But, your secret weapon is being yourself, and no one can do what you do and the way that you do it. Think Devil Wears Prada, Miranda Priestly. She's like, I may be getting replaced, but no one can do what I do. That's kind of how it is. I have a passion/expertise for a very particular category, a very particular niche. I feel like I'm pretty good at reading people. And those two things, in combination with my delivery and how I choose to communicate that information, is what makes me really unique. So in fact, I did recently make a video on creating a brand for yourself. It's an author brand, but it might just be good for anyone out there who's like wanting to get a little bit clearer on how to brand themselves as an entity, as a business, entrepreneur, business person, like whatever. And that's one of the things that I talk about, is that with anything that you do, what makes you unique is simply you. It's really not that hard. But at the same time, that also requires a lot of inner work and reflection, because if you are clear on who you are and what you want, then the rest is going to be gravy. The world knows exactly what to give you because you've made space for those things that you're clear on and that you want. The next thing that I've learned is that, and this is nothing new for me necessarily, is that you are going to work for free for a really long time. You're going to be providing a lot of value that people may or may not be able to see. I'm very much like a value first kind of person, and this was like heavily confirmed by Alex Hormozi, which my partner introduced me to, and I really like his stuff. He's very much like a value first kind of person, like give away your good stuff for free, which I feel like is like a massive pivot from typically how you're supposed to do business, but that also kind of is really just who I am at my core. I want to help people for the sake of helping people. So that means that I'm going to have to give away a lot of stuff for free. And although it's frustrating in the beginning and I would very much like to be paid for what I do, I also know that at the very least, it's going to benefit a lot of people. It's going to generate word of mouth. People are going to feel like they can trust me and lean on me. And then when they are ready to ask for support, they know who to go to. My second to last thing that I'm going to share is that having one person on your side makes all the difference. And it's okay if they don't care about it as much as you, but it matters that they're willing to be next to you, cheering with you, advocating for you, and more importantly, to borrow that famous quote, say your name in a room full of opportunities if you're not in that room yourself. And luckily, that person is my partner, Nick. He's probably my biggest advocate. And Nick, I know you're going to be watching this when it comes out, so thank you. I appreciate you. I sing your praises all the time at home, so I love you and thank you. But I also have a lot of other people who are on my side as well. New relationships that I've cultivated over the last year even. And these people are advocating for me just like I'm advocating for them. And it's very reciprocal. And I think that's exactly how it's supposed to be. So that's one thing that's been kind of nice, is that it's okay if I'm the only one who cares a lot or the most about this thing. But it's also kind of nice to have people on my side who are willing to advocate for that value, that mission, that whatever that I'm going for. And then the last learning moment, I guess, is going to be probably the most practical. I think the hardest part of this whole thing is just getting your first client. If you can get your first client, I mean, and you do a good job with them, you get a testimonial, they tell you how great you are, they're going to tell everyone else how great you are. It's just like, it only takes one person to connect you to your next big opportunity. That opportunity maybe being another client, maybe being another, something or other, a new way to expand your vision, your mission, your message. I think the hardest part is just going to be getting that first client. Just like I've also heard that making your first 100,000 is the hardest part. Your first step is always going to be the hardest part, which is why I started this video off by saying, with anything you decide, it's always just a matter of time. It's a lot about thinking creatively and thinking in a jar, cup, half full type of mentality of like, this is possible, I'm needed, I know some people, and I have good relationships with those people, so maybe they know things that I don't. This is your girl Lauren bringing some wisdom to you this fine fall day, and I hope this benefited some people out there, but it was also a good exercise and reflection for me. So I hope that this confirmed some things for you if you've been on the hunt for some answers. And that's really all I have. If you want to check out my website, it's called Lauren Erickson Writes, WRITES.com. I've also got free courses. I've got a course on how to write your book, why every business person should write a book. So feel free to check that out. It's literally free. I mean, you might have to plug in your email or something, but that's it. And then I'm also working on a course about how to write a book proposal for anyone who's curious about writing a nonfiction book. So, it's just, when I'm talking about value, I'm trying to walk the talk, right? Like, oh, I'm a very value first person, and this is me letting you know that those resources are available to you if you would like them. So no pressure, just some lessons that I thought I'd share, confirmation for those who need it. And otherwise, that's all I got. I hope you have a fabulous day. Good luck with all of your stuff. And if you have questions, if you want to connect, if you want to start a conversation with me, you can DM me on Instagram at Lauren Erickson, but the O in my last name is a 0, or you can just email me at lauren@laurenericksonwrites.com. That's all I got. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you later.